Yeah, that's right. Your Oregon Ducks are Big Ten champions, 13-0 for the first time in program history. A 45-37 win over the third-ranked Penn State Nittany Lions. Schultze and Will breaking it all down here on Sports Radio 1080 The Fan, 99.5 HD2, and YouTube as well, 1080 AM The Fan and the Odyssey app. Will, I wanted to ask you, though, Oregon did struggle quite a bit on the defensive side of the ball today. We've kind of highlighted that neither of us really – you expected a game, like a 7 to 10 point difference.
I expected Penn State to take the air out of the ball.
Okay.
I did not expect Penn State to put the ball in Drew Aller's hands the way that they did and throw the ball 39 times in this game.
And outpace Oregon on offense.
I expected this game to be a lot of handing the football off, much like when Penn State plays Ohio State. It's almost like Penn State thought that they could keep up or attack the Ducks in a certain way. And here's the thing. They were. But the reason that Penn State was able to find open receivers against the Ducks, I didn't feel like the receivers, maybe aside from Tyler Warren, beat the Duck DBs.
Yeah.
They were schemed open.
Mm-hmm.
And Kotelnicki went into his bag and found different ways to get guys open. He didn't do that against Ohio State, or Ohio State handled his motions and his shifts better than Oregon did. And I don't know which one. Right?
Yeah.
The other thing, and what you want to get into is the rushing attack that worked so well. I mean, obviously, Allen and Singleton, they have 24 rushes combined. They have 230 yards together.
I got to eat a little crow on that. I said that Oregon, I've already stated at this show, would be like Oregon v. Michigan today. It was like Oregon v. Ohio State versus Penn State because it was like seeing Quinshon Jenkins and Travion Henderson 2.0 against Oregon today.
I disagree. I think it was much more impressive.
Look, there you go. Agreed.
On how they ran. Because when I look at that Ohio State game, Jenkins has one big run.
Yeah.
Henderson has one big run.
And
when you look at their stat totals, it's because of one big run. The difference for Allen and Singleton, they had multiple explosive runs.
I mean, Singleton had a 41-yard,
there
Allen
was
30 yards.
There was a point where Singleton and Allen were averaging about 11 yards a rush. What Penn State was doing was they were running at the start, it was an inside zone. And so what the running back is doing, Allen or Singleton, is they are tracking the center's hip.
Yeah.
And then basically that whole play hinges off of what the backside guard does. If the backside guard is able to reach and pin inside the backside defensive linemen, so Harmon or Cardwell, if they're able to pin them in, Singleton or Allen's going to hit that right up the middle. And so it's going to look like an A-gap dive. If they're not able to pin that and reach that defensive lineman, they're going to wash them by. And so then he's going to bend it all the way back across the grain to where it looks almost like a counter type play. The beauty of zone is there's no true hole. You just try and find the opening. The difference between outside and inside is where you're tracking and who you're reading. And in that play, you're reading your center to your guard.
Yeah.
And so basically what they were doing is they were just killing the Ducks on that zone path. And then when the Ducks finally seemed to get in the right spot to where they weren't getting killed on the zone, that's when the zone read with Aller came in, and Aller started killing them. He could really ride that mesh point and really take a long time before he pulled the ball or gave the ball to the running back. And that made multiple times where linebackers just had to get stuck. The one that sticks out in my head, it was a 3rd and 3, and it led to a big Singleton run.
Yeah.
But the read player is Betcher, and Betcher just gets frozen. He's in the right spot. He's in a position to where he can play the running back or he can play Aller, but he has to wait for so long, and Aller rides it for so long to the point where Aller's almost taking shuffle steps with it to now by the time he hands the ball off to Singleton, Singleton has a full head of steam, and he's 2 steps ahead of Betcher, and Betcher from a dead stop has to then change his angle. And so instead of being able to make a play on it where he's making a play in the backfield, he's now lucky if he makes a play 3 or 4 yards down the field. So I was really impressed in Drew Aller's ability to be that zone read quarterback because he's never shown it. You've seen it out of Prebula. And you know this is what Kotelnicki wants to do because this is where he was so successful in Kansas with Daniels, is that zone read offense and that running quarterback. But he hasn't shown it with Aller. So it really caught the Ducks off guard. And I think that's why for really 3 of the 4 quarters, you saw a lot of successful runs from that Penn State offense.
Yeah, and then you obviously mix that in with one of the best position players in college football in Tyler Warren, which the Ducks were obviously planning for. They were probably planning to double team a little bit, but they weren't planning on Drew Aller running for 54 yards, breaking out for a 20-yard bomb of a run, and also running it in for a touchdown on one of those zone reads that you're talking about, Will. It definitely changed a lot of the game today, and I will say Penn State's offense is a lot better than we thought. Speaking of Penn State, text in FYI, boys. James Franklin to the Vancouver Ford text line implied that officiating cost them the game and threw shade at the noise of our celebration during his postgame presser. What a turd of a human. Oh my goodness. James Franklin, you unlikable human being. Can anybody that loses in this world of college football just put your damn tail in your legs, eat the loss, walk back to your locker room and move on? You're still in the CFP, aren't you? My God. That's ridiculous. I hate that kind of crap. Get me on a soapbox about James Franklin.